Developing flexibility and mobility can be one of the most important components when it comes to learning new movements. Coming up, I have 25 of my favorite and most effective stretches for doing so. Most of these stretches can be held anywhere from several seconds to several minutes depending on your goals and your time.
But you gotta focus.
Alright, number 1, the bound angle, also known commonly in gym class as the butterfly stretch. You're going to put your feet together, grab them, lean forward. This stretches out your groin and lower back. Second stretch we have is the seated cross shin, also known as sitting Indian style. You're going to cross your legs and you're going to lean forward, trying to touch your elbows to the ground. If you can't, you can just touch your hands. This is really going to target the IT band in the glutes, in the leg that is crossed underneath. Be sure to cross both ways. Third stretch, my favorite stretch, the seated straddle. Side note, this is the best stretch for developing flexibility for the flare. You can go straight down the middle, arch side to side, or lean side to side. This stretches out the hamstrings, groin, lower back. Number 4, the pigeon. Bend one leg in front, put one leg out the back. You can arch your back or lean forward. A lot of people like to arch their back up, but I like to lean forward. Don't push too hard into this stretch, just relax and breathe into it. This really helps stretch out the hip and really targets the IT band. Seated forward fold, also known as your basic sit and reach. Great stretch for targeting the back and the hamstrings. Remember to relax into it and breathe. This can be quite uncomfortable but quite effective. Alright, bonus variation, single leg seated forward fold. You can choose to bend one leg in and lean out towards the other. This actually feels a little bit different than the double leg forward fold. So I recommend switching it up every once in a while. Back to the list with 6, the saddle. At first you can choose to go just to your hands. When you develop more flexibility, you can go down to your elbows. When you're ready, you can go all the way to your back. Remember to go slow though. Flexibility takes time to develop. This really targets the quadriceps. Alright, simple variation of this stretch, what you can choose to do is put your toes down and lean back into it, targeting the plantar fascia in the foot. Moving on to 7, the downward dog. You want to try to plant your heels on the ground, keeping your legs straight, and try to keep your back straight and arms straight. This really targets the hamstrings, the lower back. Alright, the downward dog calf stretch. If you bring one leg in, you'll actually stretch the calf. Now, if you bend the knee, you'll actually stretch the soleus, which is the deeper calf muscle. Another variation of the calf stretch you can do up against the wall. Now, if you have the leg straight, you'll stretch more of the gastrocnemius, and if you bend the knee, you'll have more of the soleus being stretched. Both are calf muscles, so I recommend doing both. Alright, moving on with your basic lunge stretch. Really stretches the hip flexors on one side and the hip extensors on the other. Remember, do both legs. Alright, little bonus variation here. If you dive deeper into your lunge, bending more of your ankle, you'll actually really stretch the soleus muscle in that leg. Alright, moving on with the lizard. Basically just like your basic lunge stretch, but you're going to put your arms down to the side of your leg, further opening the hips. Number 12, the frog. Developing hip and groin flexibility, this is a great movement. Exactly what it looks like. Alright, great for mobility and flexibility, and also decompressing the lower back, believe it or not. The deep sumo squat. You're going to allow yourself to sit in the squatting position, try to keep your joints stacked, breathe, allow the stretch to take place. A lot of people like to have their back straight, but I actually like to arch my back over. Moving on with the lying quad stretch, basically a variation of the runner stretch standing up, but you're lying down. I feel like this targets the quads a lot better than it does standing up. However, if you do want to stand up, you can do this one the old-fashioned way. Just be sure to mind muscle stretch that quad out. Alright, your basic glute stretch. This one is wonderful. Glute and the IT band. Cross the leg, pull it over with the arms. This next one is great for spinal mobility and preventing injury, the cat-cow. More of a mobile, moving pose rather than a static stretch. What you're going to do is you're going to arch your back and then hunch, in and out. You can do a number of reps. I recommend about 10. More spinal and back flexibility, moving on to the Sphinx. This really helps stretch out the abdominal muscles. Now you can just go to your elbows if you're not flexible enough, but I recommend, if you can, pushing up, trying to keep your spine evenly arched, feeling the stretch in your abs. Now from the Sphinx, we can go into the Child's Pose. This is great for stretching the other way. Extend your arms out as far as they go. You'll also feel a good stretch in the shoulders. Great stretch. Alright, one of my other favorites, the bridge stretch. This one requires quite the flexibility. I recommend working on the Sphinx before going totally here, and you can also do this one, the partial bridge stretch. Helps develop anterior chain flexibility. Now, a very relaxing yet effective stretch, the supine twist. Exactly what it looks like. Helps stretch out the spine and lateral trunk muscles. Remember, always do both legs, both sides. Keep it even. Moving on to the twisted cross, helping stretch out the front delts, the bicep, and the chest. Arm down, twist. Feeling the stretch in the front of the arm. The neck often gets tight and or is prone to injury. That is why it is always a good idea to help stretch out the neck tissues. Side to side, front to back, you can choose to apply a little bit of pressure side to side, and when you lean forward, I would not recommend applying any pressure when you're looking back. However, you can choose to bring your jaw up, close your mouth. That'll further stretch out the front of the neck muscles. Your basic wrist stretch. Grab all your fingers, arm out in front, pull back. You can also choose to do the kneeling wrist stretch, hands down on the ground, flip them around, supinate them, lean back. Wrist pull down stretch. With your other arm, grab your thumb, pull your wrist down. This helps stretch out the radiocarpal joint of the wrist. Alright, moving on with your basic bicep stretch. Bring your arm back as far as it can go and then supinate, which means turn your palm up. This really helps target the bicep. You can choose to use a wall if necessary. Alrighty, here's a great little variation bonus stretch, mobility movement. Your basic arm circles. I know they're silly, but these are really important and beneficial for developing flexibility, mobility, and warming up the shoulder joints, which is one of the weakest joints in the whole entire body. Take care of your shoulders, guys and girls. Do your arm circles. Hey, if we're gonna do arm circles, why don't we do wrist circles? Seriously, really good for warming up the wrists and developing wrist mobility as well. Alright, getting fancy here with the eagle. What you're going to do is you're going to wrap one arm underneath the other. This is going to help stretch out the post delts, a little bit of the tricep. If you don't want to do this fancy junk, you can just choose to have your arm out straight, pull at your elbow. Alright, your basic hand hook, this weird tricep stretch that everybody seems to want to do that nobody can really do without a towel. If you can, try to reach and touch both hands. If you can't, you can choose to reach over your head, grab your elbow, pull down, feeling the stretch in your tricep. But wait, there's more. Tons of bonuses in this video. Here's a little bonus. This is like my favorite one that's unconventional. I call it the back pull. Cross your leg, grab just beneath your knee, and let your leg sink down. I feel like this really helps stretch out the post delts, the upper back, the traps, a little bit of the rhomboids. In my opinion, it just really helps relieve tension in the upper back. It's a great stretch and no one really does it. Awesome. If you guys are looking to get in shape for the summer, check out my 12-week calisthenics program, Bodyweight Beast, onlykindsfitness.com. That's bodyweight training only. Get in shape, get more mobile, flexible, stronger. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and turn those notifications on because we got more coming out. Peace, y'all have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video.